All right, so the so twice this one. So that means I have to recalculate for my XA and my XB. Then from there I can calculate for my NOx, right? And determine the packed height required if HY. So they this one they give me HY and what HX, right? So what you do is that it's your choice. You can decide to use um. So since I have NOx over here, I can actually find my HOX, right? So you find HOX by using HX plus the LM divided by MGM, right? Yeah. This M over here doesn't mean G times M, is GM because I'm talking about the flux, right? So you can actually, since you have NOx over here, just find HOX and multiply, right? So if you multiply, it becomes very easy for you to do, right? So, yeah, becomes very fast to do. Then these are tower packings that you can read on, and correlations. There are some correlations that is sometimes if you don't use graphs, right? And you have the some really algebraic expressions that you can also use to evaluate or you have what you call the stripping factors, absorption factors, and all those things, right? And when we have a concentrated solution, yeah, that's what I was talking about. When the thing is more than 10%, you'll be using the mole ratios, right? Right, this one we have x over 1 minus xa. We can have these ones, right? But you have to also calculate for these ones, right? We have the solutes. So that's what we call the solute free what approach, right? So all these things come into sense in such a way that you'll be having the minimum liquid rate, which occurs at the bottom of the column, right? Which occurs at the bottom of the column. So and you have the minimum, yeah, the minimum liquid weight, right? So here, so this equation becomes what valid, right? Times the fraction. And you have got the stage efficiency, right? Which is the theoretical or the calculated number of stages, where the actual number of stages required. So the theoretical number of stages, the stages that you get when you do your when you plot your operating line, right? And your distance. So for you to plot, so this is what we call the operating line. So when you get your XA and your XB, right?